Hello and welcome to 244 News. Thank you for tuning in today. Today we have a special guest, Naya Rogers, here to discuss The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. She will discuss questions about the movie and the book. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, Luke. Thank you for having me.
I will ask you 4 different questions that viewers have sent us.
Okay, sounds great. Let's get to it.
Alright. First, can you please summarize the novel?
Well, in The Fall of the House of Usher, it's a story about a man who visits his sick childhood friend Roderick. Roderick and his sister Madeline are both ill, and Roderick and the narrator accidentally put Madeline into a tomb alive, thinking she's dead. Madeline escapes the tomb and dies, taking Roderick with her.
Alright, thank you. The first question was submitted by a user named @Johns_Cena57. The question is, how do the depictions of the characters from the novel compare to the movie's depictions of the characters?
Great question. To start it off, in the novel, when they buried Lady Madeline in the vault, it said, "The mockery of a faint blush upon the bosom and the face, and that suspiciously lingered smile upon the lip, which is so terrible in death." Poe 81. But in the movie, Madeline's cheeks were not rosy, and she didn't have that faint smile on her face. 757. Also, in the story it says, "While he spoke, the Lady Madeline, for so she was called, passed through a remote portion of the apartment, and without having noticed my presence, disappeared." Poe 73. Madeline never actually makes eye contact with the narrator in the story. But in the video that we watched, she walked past the room that Roderick and the narrator were in and looked directly into the narrator's eyes. Also, Madeline seemed more like a ghost rather than a dying human. In the video, she escaped the coffin, and it seeed as if she possessed Roderick instead of falling on top of him, which is what happened in the book.
The second question was submitted by @smuggling.muffin_2, and it is, what differences do you notice between the novel and the film?
Well, as I mentioned previously, I noticed that in the film, when Madeline escapes the tomb and comes up the stairs, she seems more like a ghost than a human being. And when she fell on top of Roderick in the movie, it seemed as though she possessed him because she disappeared after she fell on top of him. But in the book, it says that she fell on top of him and they both died. So, yeah. Also, in the novel, before Lady Madeline escaped the tomb, the narrator read a book to Roderick. But in the video, the narrator never read the book to Roderick, and Lady Madeline came up to the room much earlier in the video than she did in the book.
We would like to pause and thank Mrs. Andrews for letting us use her room to record this. This next question was submitted by @Ricardo, and it is, which scenes were you hoping to see in the movie but didn't?
Well, I was hoping to see the scene where the narrator read Mad Trist to Roderick because I wanted to see their reactions to hearing the sounds that were described in the book. And I also wanted to hear the sounds myself. I thought this story was an important part of the fall of the House of Usher because it was a symbol that represented Madeline escaping from the tomb, and it definitely added to the story. However, this was not in the movie. In the movie, Roderick enters the narrator's room and immediately tells him that they put Madeline in the tomb alive. But we also never have proof that the narrator heard any sounds in the movie. But in the book, he hears the sounds that Madeline makes.
Okay, thank you. This next question was wanted by everyone, and it is, which scenes were you pleased to see included in the movie?
Well, I was pleased to see that the beginning of the movie was almost the same as the introduction in the story. The introduction in the story was when the narrator was on his way to the House of Usher. In the book, it says, "I had been passing alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of country." Poe 64. In the movie, the author is on a horse riding to the House of Usher through a bunch of trees and land. I was also pleased to see that the cracks in the house were shown, and the old appearance of the house was very clear. The connection between the house and its broken down appearance, and Usher and its broken down appearance, was very much like how the book made it to be. It showed how the house was decaying and looked old, just like Usher was. In the book it said, "I looked upon the scene before me, upon the mere house, and the simple landscape and features of the domain, upon the bleak walls, upon the vacant eye, like windows, upon a few rank sedges, and upon a few white trunks of decayed trees, with an utter depression of soul which I can compare to no earthly sensation more properly than to the after dream of the revealer upon opium, the bitter lapse into everyday life, the hideous dropping of the veil. In the movie, the dryness and depression of the house was played out by the darkness of the house, the cracks, and the way it was so run down and old looking. I also loved how the video portrayed his disease. The part where he was eating dinner with the narrator showed how the disease affected him and what it made Roderick do.
Thank you for coming out today and creating time to answer these questions.
Thanks for having me, and have a great day.